Last year, I saw a super cheap mistake fare from the Bay Area where I live to Costa Rica, a country I have always wanted to visit. So I booked it without really thinking about the timing. Anyway, I just got back from 8 days of surfing and reading on the beach with minimal internet access. Here's an abbreviated list of what I appear to have missed. Donald Trump signed about 120,000 executive orders, most of which were just grievances like I, Donald Trump, want an extra barbecue dip with my chicken nuggies from now on, but others that had serious and immediate ramifications. For instance, there was an order that was titled to suggest it was about protecting me personally from gender ideology extremism and restoring biological truth to the federal government, which resulted in the purging of information from a variety of sites, including the CDC and Health and Human Services, removing any acknowledgement of the existence of trans people or gender or diversity. Yes, I already feel more protected, thank you. CDC scientists were ordered to censor their work and retract previous studies that mentioned words that are now verboten. Trump started the dumbest trade war in history with stupid fucking tariffs on Canada and Mexico that would only increase costs for the American consumers and which he has now already backtracked on. That's how stupid they were. Elon Musk hired a swarm of Nazi children to illegally raid government offices and steal data concerning government employees. The names of these children are Akash Baba, Edward Korstein, Luke Farrader, Gautier Cole Killian, Gavin Klieger, and Ethan Chautran. And Elon Musk says it's now illegal to say that. After years of the government chipping away at the safety of industries like the airline industry, Trump let Elon Musk force the FAA administrator to resign, and then killed a DHS airline safety committee, and shortly afterwards blamed 2 major plane crashes on Black people and women. Trump officially opened the first concentration camp, a prison on Guantanamo Bay where 30,000 people will be held without due process, I'm sure. The administration also made a deal with El Salvador, asserting that they will be forcefully shipping U.S. citizens to the Central American country for extrajudicial imprisonment. And eggs are still expensive. Can you believe it? Wow. That's just a sampling, but it's enough, I think, to get the point across. We are in the midst of a multi-pronged fascist coup perpetrated by some of the stupidest people on the planet, and there appear to be few to no adults in the room trying to stop it. It's all pretty overwhelming, which is by design. Part of the plan is burning you out, so you throw your hands in the air and submit instead of fighting, which is why there will be a few comments on this video saying, don't bother, it's too late, nobody can do anything. But that's why it's actually good that I was on the beach during all of that, because this week I return refreshed and unbothered so that I can take a deep breath, pluck one gleaming turd from this giant pile of shit, explain to you why it's so gross and shitty, and then tell you a little something that you can do to try to fix it, all without completely losing my goddamn mind. So, let's talk about RFK Jr. Yes, again. Previously, 2 years ago, I made a video very clearly pointing out that RFK is a disgusting anti-vaccine kook who should be driven from the public stage at all costs. I went over his decades of dangerous anti-science fear-mongering bullshit, including, of course, the completely debunked, ridiculous, stupid idea that vaccines cause autism. No one with 2 firing neurons believes that, including the people most famous for spreading it. Andrew Wakefield was the asshole who started that particular bit of bullshit, and he literally only did it because he held a patent on a vaccine that he hoped would replace the standard safe and effective measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine. That's right, anti-vaccine cranks always try to claim that they aren't anti-vaccine, but in the case of Andrew Wakefield, it was true. He wasn't anti-vaccine, he was just pro whatever vaccine makes him rich. We'll come back to that. Put a pin in it. Anyway, we actually did get some success from the campaign to let everyone know exactly how bonkers RFK is. Though I admit we were helped by him openly admitting things like the dead worm he has in his brain, the dead bear carcass he dropped in Central Park, the dead whale he strapped to the roof of his car, etc. because eventually he did drop out of the race to become president and endorse Donald Trump in a naked attempt to cling to any kind of power that he could. And that's worked out for him because Trump nominated RFK Jr. to lead Health and Human Services, which, yeah, is insane. RFK is completely batshit in at least 100 different ways, and 87 of those are directly related to health and or human services. He's wrong about vaccines to the point where he even thinks that the polio vaccine should be optional. Polio, tiny innocent children dead or disabled for life because RFK Jr. thinks parents should have the right to withhold a simple, safe, effective vaccine from them. It's like saying parents should have the option to withhold water from their kids. RFK also took time during a confirmation hearing to shit on SSRIs, which are a category of drug that has allowed me to continue to lead a normal life, mostly free of anxiety and depression, even while doing videos like this twice a week for years. Thank you, escitalopram. He claimed that SSRIs are harder to quit than heroin, which is weird because that's a really obvious fucking lie. He also confuses Medicare, government healthcare for people over the age of 65, and Medicaid, government healthcare for people who are poor or disabled. During recent questioning, he claimed that people don't like Medicaid because the premiums are too high. Now, he wouldn't know this because he's a Nepo baby who never had to struggle for a thing in his life. And so not only has he never been on Medicaid, but he also doesn't feel the need to even bring a page of basic notes to a confirmation hearing for a job he's in no way qualified for. But I have been on Medicaid. I lived in the UK for a few years and I came back to the United States. And before I had a chance to get a job and therefore insurance, my chronic back problems hit in the worst possible way, and I had to be taken to the emergency room in the middle of the night, unable to move and nearly passing out from the pain. I writhed on a cot for several hours before a doctor came in, looked at me for a minute, asked a few questions, and then left. A few hours later, a nurse came in and handed me a prescription for extra strength Tylenol. And then my boyfriend had to literally carry me back to the car and then home. A few weeks later, I got a giant bill that I could not afford. Once I could walk again, I went back to the hospital and a lady helped me get the bill down to $500. And then she helped me get on Medicaid. And that's when I learned that Medicaid generally doesn't cost a single cent. So when RFK said most people hate it because it's too expensive, he was either lying or ignorant. And not only that, he was even wrong about them not liking Medicaid at all. Most people actually do like Medicaid. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Rules vary state by state. It can be very confusing. Not all doctors accept it. A lot of people don't even know that they qualify for it. But let me tell you, it's better than going bankrupt because a doctor accidentally made eye contact with you one time. Despite RFK's complete lack of knowledge or expertise, this week a Senate committee voted to allow him to advance to a full Senate vote sometime that's going to happen in the next few weeks. The vote fell along party lines. 13 Democrats opposed, 13 Republicans were in favor, and then the deciding vote was cast by Republican Bill Cassidy from Louisiana, who is an actual physician. Bill Cassidy is a gastroenterologist, which is particularly ironic because you'd think that in medical school, they would have at least taught him how to identify an asshole. Anyway, during the confirmation, RFK repeatedly and falsely claimed that he is not anti-vaccine. Like I said, this is such a common catchphrase from anti-vaccine lunatics. I can say it along with them, word for word, as they're being challenged. They've been saying this for 20 years now, at least. They know that they are holding a completely idiotic position, so they pretend that they're not anti-vaccine. They claim to be pro-safe vaccine, but when you ask them to name a safe vaccine, they never quite can. When you ask them which vaccines should be mandatory for babies and children, they can't say which ones. They conveniently ignore issues like herd immunity or the inability of small children to make their own medical decisions and pretend that this is simply a question of personal bodily autonomy. It isn't. Unlike Wakefield, RFK does not, to my knowledge, hold a patent on an innovative new polio vaccine. But like Wakefield, he is obviously using this grift for personal gain. Late last year, RFK trademarked the phrase "Make America Healthy Again" and the stupid abbreviation MAHA, which he then transferred to fellow anti-vaccine crank Del Bigtree. They officially established that the trademark can apply to merchandise, supplements, vitamins, essential oils, homeopathy, cryptocurrency, and hold on, what's this? Does that say vaccines? Huh. And yeah, that brings me to my final point on RFK. Many people desperately want to believe that he's good and would be good in this role because he will fight against big pharma. I want you to know, I need you to know that being anti-vaccine has nothing to do with being anti-big pharma. RFK is an example. He is an enthusiastic supporter of big pharma when it comes to their vast, extremely lucrative supplement wing. He knows that there's big money to be made there, which is why he constantly talks about how much he loves gulping down handfuls of vitamins and doesn't even know what they're for. When it comes to mini supplements, no one really knows what they're going to do. As I've said repeatedly in the past, the FDA barely regulates them, meaning that manufacturers can throw whatever they want in there so long as they don't maim or kill anyone, at which point they will have to pay a fee of up to several percentage points of their overall profit to date. Oh yeah, also, RFK is lying or terminally ignorant when he says the FDA is unfair about supplements. The FDA is so underfunded and understaffed, you could probably sell homeopathic dog shit to cure AIDS on a Walgreens end cap and get away with it for at least a few years. And by that point, you'll be rich. And as they say, if the punishment for a crime is a fee, then it's only a crime for poor people. So yeah, this money-grubbing quack is very close to being put in charge of the department that will, be in charge of the actual physical and mental health for all Americans, while a pandemic continues to limp along and another one might be on the horizon. But here's where I get to the good news. You can help, maybe. I mean, if you have the energy and if you live in the United States, because it is not a foregone conclusion that this nutter is going to get the job. You need to call your senators. Like I said, I know there's going to be comments on this saying not to bother. They're just going to do it anyway. I want to repeat something I've said several times since November of last year. Do not comply in advance. If you give up on one of the basic tenets of our democracy before they even take it from you, they've already won. Don't let them. Don't do it. Don't listen to the losers who are saying that you should just give up. Whether you have a Democrat or a Republican senator, call them. Tell your senator that you want them to block the confirmation of RFK Jr. And not only that, you want them to grow a spine and block every single one of Trump's nominees, at least until Elon Musk and the Shitler youth stop illegally trying to destroy our democracy. We absolutely must let the Democrats know that we are watching and that we care about this issue. And we have to let the Republicans know, because there may be a few of them who we can actually convince to reject at least this one stupid asshole. Because some of those Republicans are doctors, some have children they care about, and some were alive when polio was out there destroying children's lives. And even if the confirmation still goes through, you've burned off some energy and you did it annoying these fuckers who should be working for you. No matter what, we must persist in being as annoying as possible. This applies to every aspect of what's going on right now. I might get into other aspects in future videos, but it applies here. Because not only can you call your representatives, you can send them a letter. You can email them. You can go to their office and knock on their door. You can be extremely annoying. And if you can't get to their office, guess what? For many senators, you can fax them. That's right. You can fax your senator. Do you have any idea how annoying that is for everyone involved in that office? You can use ResistBot or any one of several free fax services to do it. Please get out there and let them know. Annoy the shit out of them. Annoy in advance. Do not comply in advance. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you think the world could use more videos like this and you happen to have a few bucks laying around, head to patreon.com/Rebecca and join an awesome community of nerds like the people whose names you see on the screen right now. Thanks.